Oh, we have people here. I didn't expect there'd be anybody here, guys. If I'm being honest. What's going on? Who was that from Michigan? Let's see that again. Joseph, how are you, buddy? Yeah, I actually literally just walked in the, like, just got home a little bit ago. Kind of a long day. Well, not a long day, a tough day. But, yeah, I was sitting here sharpening my saw and I realized, oh no, it's Monday. And I usually do, well, I've been trying to get on a schedule here. See if I can fix that tripod so it's not. There we go. I've been trying to get on a schedule so that I keep a regular Monday live going. So I kind of forgot, but I didn't because normally it's like at 6. So Bridgeburn, what's going on, man? We got Billy. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know if any of you have any experience. Oh, what's up, Scott? If you guys have any experience dealing with the quarter-inch Pico chains, but they're like my nemesis when it comes to sharpening, and they're so aggravating. But you can see how little my file is because it's a little bitty skinny file for these quarter-inch Pico chains, and I repeatedly break them. So like, as soon as I try to put a little pressure on it, it doesn't take much to snap them. So I've broke it twice, and I haven't even made it through one side yet. But yeah, they're a pain. I don't know why they're such a pain. I think it's because it's so small. Why won't it pick up the damn comments? Is what I want to see. Oh, Steve's here too. Right on. Well, hell, we have a crew. I kind of let's move this. I actually kind of set this up. Let's see if I can do this. No, that's way too close. Too close. So you're gonna get some motion sickness for a second. Hang on. Yeah. That'll kind of work. Yeah, they do suck, Steve. I, of course, I only have one, and I'm down to my last one. And like, I even got, look at this. I even got to the point where you know how on every file there's like the little end that's just straight metal, and I got so short that I'm like, oh, I'll flip it over, and I'll put that, that little piece is what'll pinch off in here, and I'll have a little, this much, and it won't work that way. I guess these files are only meant to work one way. So that's why, like, when you see people do their backstroke, that doesn't that doesn't bother me all that much. Like, I do the same thing. I'll kind of back scrape it when I do my filing, and to some people that drives them nuts. They're like, you're dulling it every time, but yeah, you're not really. I tell you what, I'm not I'm not gonna sit there and just sharpen a chainsaw the whole time. I'm gonna go get a seat, sit down, right over here in this nice, comfy chair, and we can do this the right way. Ooh, oh, nice. I can do this. So, now who else? I don't know what the deal is with my phone. It won't pull you guys' comments up. There it is. Anyone have an aftermarket bar on any saw? Uh, no, I don't think. I think all mine are steel. I mean, I've switched a lot of my bars out. Like, a lot of the bars that I have on my saws aren't the original bar that comes with it. Of course, like I upgrade them to a little bigger, you know, or sometimes I'll even go a little smaller to get a little more horsepower and a little more torque, but that just kind of depends. Rain day here, but going good. I am seriously out of shape. The winter was hard on me. Yeah, Steve, it was raining here. It was raining pretty good this morning. It's kind of squishy and nasty, and um, I actually was dealing with a tree that had failed, and it was on a roof. So a lot of silly stuff. I mean, we actually had some more rigging to do there, so I was able to set that up and do that. But tomorrow I've got a pretty gnarly one that's like all covered in ivy again. Well, it's at that same place, the place where I've done all the ivy jobs, where I clean the ivy from top to bottom, and the one where I took down the most god awful ivy tree I've ever seen in my life. And I'm talking on the internet, on just anywhere. I've never seen anyone have to remove a tree that had more ivy than that. And if there is anybody, correct me, but I don't think so. I've got Soogies. Cool. Do you like those, Bill? Can I call you Bill? Is that cool? I don't want one because I've been one. I run Tri-Link on my 028 AB. You know what, Mike? I have one of those Tri-Link. I think it's a Tri-Link bar that's on my that little Husqvarna that the ground guys are using and stuff. That 435 X torque. Yeah, that's what's on it. Is one of those Tri-Link ones. I think you can buy them at Walmart, but the chain is different, of course. But yeah, I just ordered one. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Sugihara bars, so you know, I think it's worth giving it a shot. I've always kind of wanted to also, but just never really got to that point where something else didn't need it worse. So that's why I always just kind of stuck with what I had. But I do for a haircut, getting a shaggy. Let's see. We had around 60 mile per hour. Oh dang! Yeah, we had some gnarly ones here. The the one that failed is just it's it's our area. It's kind of what we suffer from as far as our trees. We get what's called low-lying V syndrome. So I would say 75% of our trees, like where a lot of people, where some of you guys, Oregon, you know, some of the coastal places, a lot of your trees are going to get a prominent trunk, a straight, tall trunk, and a smaller canopy. Um, then you get the other kind, which if they're not a hardwood tree, they usually end up breaking. But we get where the tree V's out at a really low height. So you'll get a little bitty stump and then a huge spread out wide canopy. And that little bitty trunk has trouble, you know, supporting these long, enormous leads that come off out of, you know, to make the top. So you end up with a lot of breakage. Um, and usually when they break a large section out. It's not just like one limb. So that's just kind of one of the things that we deal with here. I'd say 75% of our trees always, you know, they don't get no more than a 10 to 12 foot trunk at best, and then they get their first fork. So not the best for structure. Yeah, we're gonna remove one tomorrow, so it should be kind of fun. I think I'm gonna try to set maybe maybe I'll record setting some rings from the ground. Um, you know, there's ways of doing it to where you can You can set them up multiple different ways. You could base anchor some rings up there by using another rope as an anchor, or you can set them like you would set a friction saver, and that's kind of tricky. It's because they're, a set of rings is usually a lot heavier than your cambium saver or your friction saver, so a little harder to set. But I want to try to set some lines and stuff and the rigging in a tree that's behind, because the tree that is being removed has probably 2 or 3 times as much ivy as it does tree, and it goes like out and then like this. I bet it's probably a 45-degree angle that it grows at. It's got a hell of a bend. It just kicks and rocks back and forth, and then it may kind of start to straighten towards the end, but it's really pretty tall. So that one's gonna be a little tricky, but I think with the way that the surrounding is, I have the forked tree that goes out this way, and a bunch of underbrush and stuff that I don't want to damage, because I think the customers, the homeowners there really like it, and they want to use it for privacy. So I hate to just crush it. They said I could, but the way it's set up, I have the tree that arcs out here, goes real tall, but I in front of it, like on the back side of it, to the right and to the left, are them two trees that I took the ivy out of. So I'm thinking, if possible, I want to tie into one, and then I want to rig from the other. I'm personally, like, I got stuff doing it today. I'm not a fan of rigging where you're tied into. It's just I've I've had my rigging, points break out and stuff, and luckily when that's happened, I haven't been tied into them, thank God. But yeah, that kind of thing always scares me. I see a lot of guys tie right next to it and onto it, and it kind of just freaks me out when I see it. I don't like it. So I try to avoid that. So I want to try to be in one tree tied in, working over, and then the other tree rigging. And what'll help with that is when the pieces are gonna have to swing back. So if I'm tied into the same one that I'm rigging from, the branches are swinging past me, into me, um, and all that fun stuff. So then I'm actually feeling the impact from every single branch that gets rigged. So the comfort level, by thinking ahead a little bit more and maybe trying to tie to something different, the comfort that you get from it is well worth the extra little bit of time. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't say this. You do that with everything. If it's something you can get to easy, that's not an issue. But this one's pretty gnarly. That tri-link bar, it's worked good. I mean, the bar's not bad. I hate the chain. The chain wasn't any good. It was a really crappy metal. But I don't know. The bars worked. I wouldn't say it's a good bar, but it's worked. So I mean, on the entire saw, I replaced the bar and new chain and everything. I bought the saw for like $35, and then put a, let's say, a $30 bar and chain, because you get a bar and a chain for $30. And when it's a saw that doesn't do a whole lot and you don't have a lot of faith in, you don't go buy a brand new bar and chain for it and get it all set up. So that's where I was at with that. I didn't have a lot invested into the saw, so I wasn't about to go buy a fancy bar and chain to put on the saw. So I thought, well, I'll use one of these, because when I looked at the make of the chain, it had the old style raker hooks. The teeth actually looked good. It looked like a really good setup, but when I got to trying it, sharpening it, and it would go dull a lot. The actual metal for those chains aren't the greatest, but the bar's been great. It hasn't bent. I mean, it's worked good. So, I mean, if it's being used every single day, I'm sure you'll burn it up, but it's worked good for us. It's heavy, but yeah, I'm never gonna catch up on questions. Any issues with mine? Yeah, Mike, that's the same thing I got is 20" that I put on that. Yeah, it's always really awesome if you got another tree to rig to. The impact and the swinging and that kind of stuff to avoid that is so nice. And then you can rig a little bigger, you know? I've rigged some ignorant stuff when I'm not tied to the rigging. But today I was at the point of like to where you're parallel with your tie-in point, and I'm 20, 25 foot, maybe 30, out on a limb walk, like on my hip, sideways with my spike in, and using every little trick I have because I'm so far out. I've got my lanyard wrapped around between my legs. I don't know if some of you have seen that trick where you kind of run it around the stem and then up underneath your leg, like between your legs, and then hook it on the side. And what it does kind of gives your like thigh, your butt cheek, like it holds back there a little bit, and then it still gives you to where you don't twist. But yeah, I was way out on it, and I was rigging back, and my tie-in point, it was like tie-in point here, X-ring here. Well, maybe it was a little higher. But then we went over to here onto another stem. Uh, I ran a natural crotch redirect, and then I put a redirect for my climbing thing because I had to come down onto a limb that was broken. It was sitting on a shed, and you couldn't get on the shed, and it was really headache. And then right underneath it was a cyclone fence, and then there's this redbud tree that's beautiful. It's all incredibly old, but it's got a ton of dead in it, and it's got the largest lead on the whole tree that goes underneath this. That what a headache! But I got forced to rig from where I was tied into the whole time, and I had to rig this. Like I couldn't get far enough out on the limb, and I just had to. You know when you get to the point where you're like, I'm as far out as I can go. Like I'm about to slip. I'm gonna twist. I'm gonna go off. I'm as far out as I can go, but it looks way too much to be rigging. Like it's way too heavy. It's way too large. It would barely fit in the space that it has. And I was at that point, and it's like, that's when you're up there and you're thinking, you're out weighing, you're weighing your options right there. It's like, what else do I do? I could free cut some of this, try to let it swing, but I was at the point where I couldn't get any further out. If I got any further out, I was gonna roll to one side or the other. I wouldn't have been able to get back up. Like you eventually start to know your limits, and I was like, ooh, I'm at it. I'm at it right now. So I'm gonna anchor here. Instead of what would have happened is it was so heavy it would have swung right into the cyclone fence, and it probably would have shook the tree enough, and it would have impacted the lead that was on the on the shed. So I couldn't let it swing back to where I had it natural crotched. So I was like, only thing I can think of is spread a little bit of the force into the stem that I'm setting onto by running a redirect right below the where I'm gonna make the cut. So I took a speed line strap, put it there, and rigged it straight, basically down. It's not my favorite thing to do, to hang a bunch of weight on what you're sitting on, because like, of course, it like slammed down real fast and shot me up into the air, and then you bounce a few times and it's all crazy. But like, I can't say that I'll sit there and like do a quick, you know, before every cut, but there was definitely one. I do my prayer before I go up every time, before I start the day, and on rare occasions where I'm in a tight spot and I'm like, ooh, this could end bad. So that's where I found myself at today. So I did record it, so eventually I get out there. Positioning hook helps with that too. Oh yeah, Yeah, I mean, I could have got another tie-in point too, but I was at that horizontal point, and the limb itself was also horizontal. So like when I roll off that, I no longer have footing below me that I can ever get to. I'm now anchored here, so I just would have had to lower myself all the way down, and I knew it would have happened when I cut the limb. It would have shook me off, um, and it's just I've been in them spots, and you have to like hold yourself up and unhook one, and then lower yourself down, and then you're in like a V setup, and then you gotta climb back up, and then get back out there. Oh, it was a pain, but yeah, I think that's another great investment is a small. If a guy is going to do pruning or technical rigging, where he's in gnarly spots, having a small climbing setup. Do your normal climbing setup, even if you run off of Blake's hitch, you know, or taut line. If that's the way you climb, that's the way you climb. But think about, okay, you get out on a crazy limb walk, and you have another small rope that you can do another taut line and anchor yourself in here. So when you're at a long potential swing that you could hurt yourself, having an additional tie-in point when you're making a cut or something, because sometimes the lanyard isn't quite enough. You could end up getting drugged down the whole limb, and I don't know. It's the comfort. It's back to that comfort thing. I feel like you'll become your best when you're always looking to make something that you did a little more comfortable the next time. Like say it worked, but could I have done that better? But like being complacent and like just satisfied with how you got it done and not, being like, well, it worked. It's good enough. I feel like that's where a lot of guys stop at. It's just like I got enough to get it done, and then they have some really bad days because they kind of stop learning and trying to advance. Like I'm a freak about trying to learn something before I need it. That's probably my worst thing. Like I'm trying to stay ahead of the issues that I may potentially have. So those that don't know me on a personal level wouldn't know that I'm such a spaz, but I am. So I'm a head case. I'm a spaz. I'm I'm as weird, if not weirder, than all you guys. I promise. Yeah, yeah, Rich Burner, you're right. Cutting too big, rigging too big. But you know what? I love doing that. It's just that's just I love pushing that limit. But you set yourself up for scenarios so you can do that. Like you're rigging at a spot where if it was to even break, you're still safe. Or you're not tied into, so if it breaks, you're still safe. It doesn't smash anything. Um, Pushing it too much, yeah, you're right. That's where you end up hurt or destroying something. So rigging it slow sometimes is faster than rigging it fast and big. So depends on what happens during that. So I wasn't really planning on doing a long live here. I just wanted to check in with you guys, say what's up, let you know that I did not forget about you. We did a live. It wasn't the greatest, but I'm always up for suggestions for the next one. So if we want to do topic related, I'm totally down for doing something like that. So I feel like I'm more of a planned out person, structured that's got like has to have a game plan for everything I do. So sometimes when like I do a live, if I don't have it thought out ahead of time, I feel like it ends up being crap. But yeah, I guess this isn't so much you need to watch it. You got to be entertained. This is just me kind of, I guess, mainly getting to know you guys more. That's what I feel like I get out of these. I kind of get to know the people that watch my videos, which I feel like helps me a lot in making the videos. Like I know kind of what everybody likes, doesn't like for the most part. Sometimes I may put stuff that you don't like just to be a dick. That's sometimes I just gotta hair up my ass. I have to do stuff like that. That's just me. Like I said, I'm weirder than the rest of you. Bridge burner. I think I'm kind of the same way. Um, it depends though. You know, I use my lanyard a whole lot, but I feel like when it comes to comfort and when I'm at my most comfortable, that's when I'm running two climbing systems instead of running a climbing system and a lanyard. But I feel like I'm not as fast when I'm doing that. So if it's something that I need to be speedy on, I probably go with the lanyard. If it's something that I'm sketched and I'm looking to be very precautious and like take my time, then I go double. So I think that's a good technique for guys to work on. So yeah, you gotta push it a little bit so you know where it's at. You know that always helps. And you know not to cross that line again. No, Bill, you're right. Nothing wrong with it. It's just I sit here thinking about I would not sit here with me and watch me. I'm not that entertaining. I'm cool, but I'm not like super. That guy's a pain. Hey guys, I'm gonna catch up on your comments. I like the unedited also. Oh, cool. Yeah, I try to even with the videos that even with the videos that I put out, I try my best to give you guys everything that happens. I feel like I've embarrassed myself. I feel like I've embarrassed myself as much as you could potentially embarrass yourself on the internet with some of the mistakes I've made. So I'm an open book. If I mess up, I'm gonna let you know. You know, and the way this game works with YouTube is it works off views, and everybody wants to see the bad stuff. So usually, if I mess up or I do anything like that, you're definitely gonna get to see it because it'll get more views. Very silly. Oh, BTS! I didn't even know you were here. Awesome! I'm glad you made it too, man. Sometimes I just read the comment. I don't pay attention to who it is. Especially since learning SRT, I find it's more work access work than true work. Yeah, it is. 100%. And it's like those days where you set up perfect and quick. It's like, oh, I totally get this. This is so worth it. SRT is the greatest thing in the world. I don't know what I would do with that. Lay down. Now. I don't know what I would do without it. Like, I gotta have it. Like, how did I get by without it? Then the next day, you can't hit the broad side of a barn with a throw ball, and you're like, I hate SRT. I'm about to go back to spiking everything and using a taut line hitch again. So, I yeah, I totally get it. It definitely is the way you set up. Will make your day. What are your thoughts on speed line? Um, very good. I mean, I feel like when you have conifer trees, which any of your pines and Doug firs and stuff like that, that's just straight up and down rings of you know of different rungs of limbs, and you're able to kind of
Stop now. You drink.
there's not a lot of finesse to it. It is the most brutal, like brute kind of rigging that you can do, except for like vertical, speed, but speed lining anyway. But um, yeah, I like it, but a lot of my trees, like I said, are widespread, incredibly widespread, and really large canopies. So speed lining is just a lot of times isn't an option. A lot of times it's really tight quarters, and precision is where it's at more. So I think it's a crazy good technique, effective. I use it on rare occasions where it saves the day. So I think it's a genius idea. Whoever was the original one to ever come up with it and start using it and bringing it into the industry, I think they're a genius. I don't think it's this end all be all thing where you need, you know, to use it on everything though. But
Get a drink.
that's just my
Get a
opinion.
drink.
Everything leaves.
Get a drink. Come on.
Yeah, it does.
Bro.
But a lot of the stuff that I'm taking out of the videos with you guys, if it's like any information, I'm taking that, and like any talking and stuff like that, I'm usually pulling that from the video.
Thank you.
And instead of you sitting there watching me finish my cut through a log, I'll just I'm cutting that out. Or if I'm moving from a spar to spar, I kind of cut that out. But now that I say that, I think about that, like that's a lot of potential like climbing content that isn't there, that maybe some people would like or relate to. But like I go on my in my kicks right now, and which has been like the go-to with my with my channel since I started it, is rigging. You know, rigging gnarly trees down in sections. I'm not real huge into falling trees. You know, there are guys that would probably fall some of the trees, take a chance, where I wouldn't. Tree lining, not so much either. So I don't know. I kind of go through my grooves. And maybe I'll get a little more into. Hey, I'm getting a phone call.
Hey, stop.
I got to get off here. I will catch you guys soon. I apologize for cutting off here because actually the conversation was getting good. Kind of important call, but I will see you guys soon. I'll try to get a video out here in the next very soon. Let's just do that. All right. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.